Welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm the Liverpool 12th Man, and it is Tuesday, and it is Twitter Talks, Twitter Takes, and we're going to be doing a little bit of Twitter Takes with the Irishman and Lee. How you doing, Irishman?
Oh, good. How are you boys?
Good. And Lee, how are you?
Good mate, good.
Yeah,
I was just
okay.
saying, I was just saying before we come on air about Anfield agenda.
Uh, the Anfield agenda, is that what you said?
Yeah, Craig Holden, the Irish lad. It said Ronald Araujo's available for 68 million from centre back,
Oh, okay.
and there was
All
another
right.
story as well. Like, there's another story, but I didn't watch all the video. But he's a good centre half, then, and that's what I'm interested in, us buying a centre half.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna get into that because I mean, like, usually, usually the one thing that you can find abundant on Twitter is definitely transfer options or rumors or people that we're going to be going into. One of the hot topics or one of the hot rumored topics on Twitter right now is the Luis Diaz comments that came out where he says, this is Luis Diaz speaking. He says he's very happy in Liverpool. It is it's a great team and club, and he's always wanted to play here. That was him directly speaking. It wasn't his dad saying that. It wasn't his, it wasn't some family member or offset or someone heard this, heard that. So yeah, it's one of those cases where it's good to see Diaz come out and say what he needed to say to kind of put people's concerns at rest if that is a player that you're looking to like continue to see, play with the red on his back. And I was happy to hear it, to be honest with you. I know that Barcelona, personally, I think that Barcelona can't afford him, to tell you the truth, with the evaluation that Liverpool have put on him. And I don't think that Diaz was, not only were they not going to be able to afford Diaz in the transfer, but Diaz is looking for a serious upgrade on his salary. So it would not only mean Barcelona has to pay a lot, like I don't know, 80 million, whatever the evaluation was. Because if you look at transfer market, for instance, they are Barcelona transfer market. Diaz is one of our highest rated, players on our team. So I would assume that most likely that market evaluation is somewhat consistent with what Liverpool rate him, the back office, Edwards and those guys rate Diaz at, and understanding the markets is what it is. I mean, Diaz, I think the whole time Diaz has been talking about Barcelona, he's been using it as a play. His dad, at least, has been using a play as of like, look, we can talk about Barcelona. Either you give us our money, or we possibly incentivize it so much that Barcelona comes in and takes Lucho, and he gets his move to a place they would love to go to anyway.
Nice.
So big up, by the way, to the chat. I see Ian's in the chat, Ross the Crabs in the chat. The streets have arrived. Bernadette, how you doing, Bernie? And Bonkers, I see you too. You guys all have it right. I mean, Bonkers says Diaz wants higher wages. Ross the Crab saying that Lucho needs to go, in his opinion. He says sorry, but he needs to go.
I don't think it's good for them. I don't think it's. I think it's. There's no need for them to go down the Barcelona are interested, putting things out there. Is that like I think the club will recognize that. Look, we should, if we want to keep this guy probably deserves a pay rise. We're not that like we always. It's one of the things that we say to players. It's just not just the bonuses. It's just that, like, if you come in on this money and you do well, like, we will up your money. We will
Right.
increase your. So I think the club. I don't think there's any need to go to war. Not that they've gone to war, but say the first kind of a few warning shots maybe that are being put out there. I don't think there's any real need for that play yet. I think
Mhm.
it's a bit. I think the
Mhm.
club always respect him. So I think if there was a new contract coming for him, I think it would have been kind of coming anyway. But we're waiting to get the, like you say, the back office staff, the backroom staff to come in that will be the ones that do these deals and get them signed off. So that's sort of one I'd be expecting. Just some random announcement in the middle of August or something that he signed a 2-year extension, and his money's gone up to whatever it might be. So I don't think they should go down that Barcelona
Yeah.
route. I don't know what anybody else thinks. Like, I don't think there's any need for that kind of open kind of hostilities in it yet.
Yeah. No, I'm there with you on that. Lee, what were your thoughts? I
Uh,
see you have some interest in it.
I've got quite a bit of echo here, like when you're talking to us, and I was not on me before. Mine was a bit delayed.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
So is
a
it only when
bit,
I'm talking? Is it only when I'm talking?
a bit
Hopefully,
like it's
is
like you've got another thingy open with YouTube on it, and I'm hearing it from you, and then does it again. Do you know what I mean? There's an
okay.
echo. Getting it off Brian as well.
Okay.
Then.
Right, hang on, I'll sort that out now. Hang on.
Okay. What it is with what the question though was, Lee, was what are your feelings on the Diaz situation? Like, what are you? One, are you even? Are you in the Diaz? Are you at the streets here? Excuse me. In that you think that Diaz needs to the streets are as roster crap, by the way. But like, are you in the camp of saying that that we need to upgrade and that he's not a player that you want to continue on with? Or are you in the camp where you think that he should be given we should honor out his contract, if not give him a little bit of a pay raise and
Yeah.
stay with Diaz as one of our left wing options? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Diaz, and I do feel sorry for him that his wages are that low compared to some of our other forwards.
Mm-hmm.
But I want him here, you know what I mean? I rate him and I want him here. He bailed us out when Darwin, Mo and Jota were all out injured last season. There's only him and Gakpo fit. And he bailed us out with his form. Once his form returned, he bailed us out last season. He has.
Mm-hmm.
Is that any better? You still getting echo, Lee?
Yeah, I can hear
Lee,
me. I'm speaking and then it's coming back to me like a delayed.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I can't. Right, I can't. Yeah, I've changed
Yeah,
my
yeah,
mic
we'll work
setup.
it out. We'll work it out.
Big deal.
Yeah, we'll work it out for while we do this.
Does it sound okay on YouTube though? People in the chat, does it sound okay on YouTube?
I'm not getting a delay, so I don't know what that was or what it's going on. We'll work it out.
I know you kind of moved up, but just quickly back on it, like if someone put 80 on the just like just before you, I know you would, but just going back to what you were saying there, if someone about Diaz, like like I think he does, deserve the bump, obviously, but if someone puts 80 on the table for him, I'm taking it all day long.
That's absolutely, the other thing. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a Lucho. I want a Lucho. I'm one of Lucho's biggest fans. But if someone goes, yeah, we'll pay. Barcelona comes in and says, we'll give you $85 million for him. Okay, Cool. Thank you. And I hope that you enjoy your time in Barcelona, because I mean, if anything, it's not like it's not a knock against Lucho. If anything, I'm saying like, I just want market value for you. I don't want to be in a position where you go on a free, for his case, at least. I don't want Lucho to leave on a free. That's not the situation because he's got plenty of years left on his contract. And I certainly don't want to see Lucho, upset and playing in his feelings if he feels he's being underpaid. I want a happy Lucho here, so I can get the best out of Lucho. And it's one of those cases where I just believe that Lucho does bring quite a bit to this team that gets overlooked. This is, again, my opinion. I know Irishman has different opinions on Lucho. But
listen to his interview, he does sound very happy. He's making it out like he's happy days. Doesn't want to go on. Right. So let's take him at that and give him another 25 grand a week and get it done.
Yeah. That's what I'm like. I'm like, yep. He looks like he's down with the project. He looks like he, is happy to be here. Those are good. That's some really good and promising comments.
Replacing him is a headache we don't need right now. New manager, new everything.
Yeah.
Replacing him really is something. It's not another thing you want to have to be dealing with. I don't think. You can.
No.
I mean, I'd love to have. Well, like I said, I'd love to have 80 million quid to spend on a new left winger. We'd all love that. That's what we're football fans. We all love that. The idea of bringing in some fantastic attacking player, great. But if we have to go through a whole transfer saga and crap and all that, like with Lucho, and we're trying to get other things done and spend money in other places, probably not the most necessary thing.
No.
But money talks. Isn't it money talks?
Money talks, BS walks.
Do you think he'd go to Saudi? Do you think he'd go to? If just say like a pure hypothetical, we got a fee that we're happy from Al Ittihad. Do you think he'd go to Saudi?
I think he's too young to go to Saudi. I mean, they would have to pay him so incredibly high for it to make sense. And I think that one of the unique things with a Colombian player is that the exchange, like, as if he's worried about bringing his money home, you can get by with a lot more or a lot less that still will progress to a lot more in his homeland, so it's not like he has to get 4 or 5 times generational wealth to be incentivized to go there. He'll get the money. He's already getting that kind of generational wealth at this rate, for him. That's what I'm trying to get across. So
he'll get the offer. He'll get the offer.
Oh yeah, he'll get the offer.
By the sounds of it, they all get the offer. Like, literally, there isn't. Like, apparently there was hardly a player in the Premier League that was that wasn't approached last summer. Like, literally just it's just an open invitation. Are you a Premier League player? Call us. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which one are you? Okay, 400 grand a week. Which one are you? 100 grand a week.
Yeah.
It was just his agent will know. If you decided to go to Al Ittihad or Riyadh tomorrow, they'll be prepared to give you X. They'll know at least mini ballpark.
I think part of it, and again, I'll let Lee answer his opinion on this one too. I think though, and this is just my perspective. It's about the money, of course, but it's not all about the money. Like, as in, yes, he would like to have a pay increase. Absolutely, who wouldn't? I think he's played well over. I personally think he's played well over his current salary. I think he's played well over his current salary. But at the same time, I don't think that I don't think that he's so money driven that that's the only incentive that is pushing him, because obviously we've all heard about his dad talking about Barcelona wax lyrical in Barcelona, and I'm sure that's the destination. Barcelona or even Madrid are two of the top destinations for a lot of the South American players. That is their Shangri-La when it comes to being able to say which team would you like to play for. So I can understand that if given the opportunity, and considering he's obviously considered to be one of the top, left wings in the world, if not in the Premier League at least, so he's going to have a little bit of say or appeal to say, hey, you know what? You're a club I would love to go to. You're a club this and that, you're a club that obviously pays its. I mean, they're paying Frankie de Jong 700,000 some in the in that ballpark, 700,000 euros a week. They obviously pay their players well, and if he could get in there for like 180, 200,000, I'm sure he'd be down for that, but if we can pay him the same, I'm sure that would make him say, you know what, I'm good on Barcelona right now. Let's go win some Champions Leagues, or let's go win a Prem. And I think that's something that I could see him doing. All right, I'm hoping that's his mindset when it comes to what we're dealing with. What are your thoughts, Lee?
Yeah. If you look at the way Luis Diaz as a player, he's like very committed, isn't he? Like, and he's there, like, and he's one of them players, like, and he wants to play. He wants to play well. He wants to feel valued, obviously. Like, maybe he feels that he isn't valued the way some of the other forwards are because of what they're on. And I can't argue with him there. Like, you know what I mean? If he needs an extra 25 grand, give him you know what I mean? An extra 25 grand. Just is it, like, you know what I mean? Give it to him, bump his wages up, set for 25 grand and say, yeah, lad.
25 grand brings him to like 80. You realize 25 grand brings him to like, not even, wait, what's that? It brings him to 80,000 a week. That's still cheap.
It's a negotiation. This is what I've been saying for a while now. There's going to be. I was saying there was conversations, varying different conversations that the manager was going to be having coming to the door, and like this simple kind of, no, you are staying. Oh, look, mate. By the way, you're leaving, and then other people who will want to sit down and go. I'm the Klopp guy. Obviously, he bought me. Like, what's my role? What's the story? And I thought that was going to be one of the most interesting ones, because we hold all the cards, but he obviously could do with a bump. He'll have interest. There's an awful lot of factors in that. And as you know, it's an agent's job to get the best deal for his client. He's
absolutely
unknown to me, pretty much unknown when we signed him. I'm not going to go out there and say knew all about him. Pretty much an unknown player to me when we brought him in. So we've given him this profile. We've given him this platform to potentially get a move like that to another club. So I think an awful lot of factors in this, especially his age. His age is a huge factor in this for him personally, as a man who it's his job to earn as much money for himself and his family over what can always be a very short career as a footballer, especially when you look at where he's come from. Probably 8-9 grand a week at Porto, 10 grand a week maybe he was on a Porto. Comes here, so he's looking 4 years left. Someone offers me £500,000 a week. Do it for 2 years, mate, or whatever. It's very difficult to know because his age is crucial in it. So he's going to be one of the most interesting conversations for Slot to have, because you can come at it from every angle. You can tie him up for 4 years and give him everything he wants, or you can take the money and let him go and get what he wants somewhere. And then you have to keep an agent happy and a dad happy. So I don't expect this Diaz noise to really go away unless one of those things is really definitively done, like a new contract signed, pen, photo of him with a pen, smiley, looking happy. I think up until that happens, I think we can expect these rumors to continue unabated.
Right. I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. Look at that. All right, Bonkers. Give me a little U.S. men's national team player news here. Juventus and Aston Villa are more than close to final agreement on Weston McKennie, Samuel Ling Jr., and €20 million fee to AVFC as revealed. Very interesting.
He's kind of like an all-action.
I think Weston
guy, isn't he? Kind of like a all-action.
Weston McKennie is a good player. He's a good player. I think Weston McKennie is a very good player. I think that he's obviously proven himself by going to Juventus and actually getting minutes. You know, it's not like he's a lost name on the roster. He's been a squad player, or if not a starter for them. So I think and he's one of the basically, considering that Douglas Luiz is rumored to is now. I know that we were quote unquote. This is why summer, the rumor season of summer, is so deadly and so deadly when it comes to getting your hopes hitched to something that you think might happen, and then finding out it was just all sunshine and BS and smoke. Because Douglas Luiz is now rumored to be going to Juventus. Actually, Luiz is rumored to be going to Juventus. That's the reason why the McKennie talks, I think, it probably notched up a gauge or two, to say the least.
He was someone that we were definitely linked with, weren't we? Because when we were linked with the midfielders, we were linked with all the midfielders, and it was him and Frank Kessie.
Yeah, when he went to Leeds, you mean? Yeah,
it was kind of
before he went to Leeds. You mean?
Yeah, it was kind of all-action midfielder type. It seemed like someone we were been linked with, but yeah.
Because I know we were looking at maybe getting Tyler Adams at the time, another U.S. men's national team player. Tyler Adams was very linked. Was possibly going to be linked, but then he ended up going to Bournemouth. We might have gone in for him, I think, but I think the reason why we didn't was because Tyler Adams had he got an injury at the time. He got a pretty nasty injury that kind of like.
I thought he went to Leeds as well. I thought Tyler Adams went to Leeds as well.
He went to Leeds, but then he ended up going to Bournemouth in the end too. He went to Bournemouth again the next after McKennie went back to Italy. He ended up getting. We were still in the talks of possibly getting him at the time, and then because I was right on the Lavia deal and was falling apart. And
McKennie was ever only on loan at Leeds from Juve, was he? Did they not sign him or something?
Yeah, he was only on loan.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now I get it.
That, you know what though? Probably because also that was during the. I know it's crazy how much I know about the Leeds, but probably because a lot of U.S. players played too. That was right around. That was also when Marsh was coach there as well, and they didn't. It ended up not. They didn't end up making. They ended up getting dropped down. So they brought a new coach. They let Tyler Adams was transferred out. McKennie went back to Italy. A lot of those components all disappeared. But and I think Leeds is owned by. I think they're owned by Americans too. I think they're owned by the same team, same company same group that owns the San Francisco 49ers. I think.
Yeah, you are correct. They were taken over by an American group.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, similar to FSG type.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of ownership.
Yeah. Not trying to start any problems here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't mention the 3-letter word.
There is some talk. Interesting. Now, Lee, Yeah. Lee mentioned center back being one of the main center halves, as well. Another way of saying it, as one of his top priorities when it comes to transfers. There is a rumor out there. Again, we're going to go into some of the rumors, and then we'll get into some real things. This is Twitter talk, so this is Rumorville. This is like extra. I don't know if you guys get that show or not. It's like Hollywood stuff. All the rumors on Hollywood. But in step back talk for us, apparently a player that both I and the Irishman are very, very keen on, a player that we both would have we would love to see transfer. I know I picked him up when we did the Anfield Cup, Brian picked him up when we went to the Anfield Cup. But I would have certainly done the same. And that is Mathis de Ligt is apparently a possible target of Liverpool. Now that's according to Twitter again, and also I know it was an article in the Echo as well, I believe, or something like that too. But apparently he is uncertain of his future. Bayern Munich have a very unique, and maybe Brian could go. I know we don't have JK here today, but he's kind of our correspondent when it comes to Bundesliga news. But apparently, Bayern Munich have somewhat of a logjam when it comes to center backs. Obviously, they got Dyer. They still have Kim. They still have Kim, right? They have Upamecano. And they also have de Ligt. And de Ligt isn't really getting the minutes. Now, he did get the minutes. He did get a start, and he did play in that Champions League final. But that was, I think, because of I don't know what that was because, to be honest with you. But he's uncertain of his future. So, of course, when you're uncertain of your future,
yeah, they're also apparently doing they're doing a Bayern and trying to take Jonathan Tah from Leverkusen. So that seems to be one that might happen. So if they're looking at bringing in Jonathan Tah from Leverkusen, that would suggest that there's movement going on there. Whether it be de Ligt, whether it be Upamecano, whether it be Kim and Jay, who I can't really see. So that would make sense to me. It's more like rumors are rumors.
Obviously, Bayern reportedly want to sign Jonathan Tah.
Yeah. So if you can make a bit make a case for it, it's a bit easier for me. Yeah, no, it's just like sometimes that's just that's a typical random rumor with no kind of backstory. But when you add in that to it, it's like, well, yeah, now you can see why it could be more plausible.
Yeah, I was going to say the news that you're talking about is Bayern reportedly want to sign Jonathan Tah, as you just mentioned, from Bayern Leverkusen. And they're also in the pursuit of possibly getting Levi Colwill from Chelsea is another target that they're looking at. De Ligt is contracted to the Bundesliga Giants until 2027 and has been no mention of a possible price tag for the center back actually at the moment. Now, that's the big question is like, what would they be looking at back? Because they're looking, apparently the German club, Bayern Munich, are facing the prospect of selling at least one player to fund their summer business. And de Ligt is the most notable name on the list for them to try to, garner some returns. Yeah. Get his big wages off the books. Possibly bring in some money that can make a difference.
Yeah.
He's one of the top owners. He makes quite a bit. I'd have to look it up, but I know he makes a lot more than you would think he makes. He makes a lot more than you would think he makes. Certainly connected to probably his high transfer fee that he got from going from Juventus to Bayern Munich, but he makes a lot. He makes, I think he makes close to 300,000 euros or something along those lines.
I reckon he's on a lot of money, definitely.
Yeah, it's very close, and it's kind of interesting because he's a player that's not even getting the minutes. You know, we want to think he was getting the minutes. He's not even getting the minutes. So.
He took a pay cut, by the way, to go to Bayern Munich. Juve were paying him more.
Mm-hmm.
Juve are stupid. Juve are really stupid. That's why I'm surprised Douglas Luiz is going there.
Yeah. It'd be. I don't know what's going on with Juventus, to be honest with you. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Used to have a little before we had the control of the Italian league, the way that they had it with they had a little bit more direction, and they were able to kind of like get a lot of good Italian players, but also complement that with like some real good European talent around them. Ever since that, the ban, and ever since the the stripping of titles and all that stuff, they've kind of wavered. Inter has certainly taken that a big position, a pole position in that league, I would say, over them. But hopefully, I know I see I'm a little glitchy. Hopefully it'll come back. It's probably because I have a lot of. I'm gonna close some of these tabs. It's probably because I have a little bit of tabs open. I'm gonna close. Some of them have like videos and stuff. But still, all the same, as a player, I would like to. I wouldn't mind seeing De Ligt play with. I wouldn't mind seeing him play in red. I think that'd be a good. That'd be a great transfer target. If we're talking about getting a player that obviously has some real interest in not only upping his minutes, but also being able to play next to solidify a partnership. All I've ever really wanted with this back line is to find a partner for Virgil van Dijk, especially as we get towards the main years, the kind of like the last hurrah with the years that we're going to get from Virgil at this level. I would like to see us just get a solidified choice that is consistent. Am I alone on? I'm sure I'm not alone on that.
Are you a fan of him, Lee? De Ligt?
Yes, up to a point. Yes, up to a point. I don't see him as a potential signing for us because of the fee and the wages. I prefer someone else, to be perfectly honest with you. There's better partners we can find, I think, Virgil, who are experienced and who we can afford. They're out there like a centre back to buy. We need to buy one post haste.
You're thinking like more like the kind of more sensible kind of 45 million, 80 grand a week kind of thing, as opposed to 90 million and 300 grand a week for a famous name kind of thing. Because that's the camp I'd be in.
Whoops. How much would you spend?
Hello?
How much would the chat? And if he is the center back option that we go with, hypothetically, how much would you spend for him? How much would you pay for him? And how much would you pay, and what kind of salary would you give him? Because that's another thing too. Is like by bringing in a player like that, and if you do bring him at a high rate or high price, you have to obviously say to him, oh, well, we're going to give you, if we're going to take away some of the salary that you're making at Bayern Munich, then but we're going to replace it with incentives, maybe by like by appearances and such, and but what would it be? What would like be your? You don't want to upset the cart as well though, and bring in a bigger name, and then because if you can't bring him in and say, oh, we're going to pay you hypothetically 300,000, let's say, or 280,000, let's say, which is less than what he's making, right? You can't really say, yeah, we're going to bring you in on that ring, and then go to Virgil and say, but we're only going to give you 25,000. We're going to get, now you have to up Virgil's contract, like that wage budget. The wage budget harmony, I think, is a bigger point of reference when it comes to importance than I think sometimes people really recognize. Ahead,
massive.
And then,
Wage structure is massive for squad harmony, and just some random dude comes in and he's on twice as much as everybody else. It's instantly like, oh, okay. Yeah, like they talked about it at so many different clubs,
right?
About how, look, such and such can't earn more than such and such. You have to, because that just creates problems in dressing rooms. 100%. That wage structure needs to be correct. And I think you're asking a guy like that to take $250 a week instead of $350 a week, but it's all about joining Liverpool and becoming whatever. You're selling them different things, and of course, but yeah, I'd be like with Lee. I'd definitely rather go out and spend 40 million and 80 grand a week rather than whatever. Like, because my shout on the lick would be something like 80 million they're probably going to want, and minimum 250 wages is probably what they want. So I'd kind of swerve that one. As good as it would be to have him, I'd have to swerve it.
For me.
Say that again.
Go ahead, bro. Say it again, Lee. Lee, say that one more time.
It's a non-starter for me, the Delict Liverpool's thing. He's too expensive.
If he's too expensive, then
40 million is what I'm looking at us paying for an experienced, decent centre half who's about 26, 27 is what I want, age-wise, to partner Virgil.
Yeah.
Does it mean? Does this mean that you said Canate? Do you have to? Can we keep a Canate? Bring in someone else? Can we do that, or would we have to move?
Does it mean? Yeah. The question comes up then. Does that mean that we keep? Do we send Kwanzaa out on loan, or do we keep him as our third or fourth choice? Because basically what bringing in a Delict is going to either make Kanate be the second, or it's going to make obviously Kwanzaa be the second. Someone's going to have to pick up and be either the second, if not third choice in that pecking order. Something that they probably wouldn't be extremely happy with. But I also, what? I'll ask this question too, though. Is there a possibility? And this is just me speaking out loud, I guess. Could there be a possibility that we go in to the market and we look and Delict? I don't think I think he's a right-footed player, so he wouldn't necessarily be the answer to this problem. But if we were to go into the market to find a quality left center back to the point where we could possibly move Virgil van Dijk to the right side, would that? And I know often, let's say hypothetically we did keep that a back four of Robbo and Trent on as our fullback options. Would it be like a decent option at least, or would you be somewhat on board if we moved Virgil, who has played right center back? He originally played right center back, to be honest with you, before being moved over to left center back once he came to Liverpool. But would you be against Virgil being a right center back and providing coverage for the pursuits of our Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right side. Because a lot of teams do tend to tend to gravitate away from, or gravitate not gravitate towards Virgil. They try to, avoid Virgil. If you were to put Virgil as that coverage on the right side, you would have to know that you are going up against possibly one of the, one of the best defenders in the league. With that, do you think that's a maybe option? And then we just focus in on a left center back. That's just me talking out loud, But does that sound like a decent option, Lee? I see you shaking your head. You can go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right up for the idea of Virgil playing the right centre half position and us having a left-footed guy to partner him, because we haven't had since he's been here. He played right centre half before, didn't he? And he's played it for Holland as well, with Ake as the left centre half. So you know what I mean? It's no problem for Virgil to move over to the right, is it? And I'd like to see a good left footer partner, a good experienced left footed centre half with a good fitness record. Because Ibu's fitness record has been doing my head in now. I've got a lot of patience for all our players over form, injuries, and everything. But I snapped with Ibu last season when he was just never bloody fit. I had enough, mate, and was wanting him out.
You're on mute, man.
My bad.
You're on mute.
I know we got some big time celebrities in the house. Callum's in the house. Big up. I know I am muted. I got it off. I got the mute off. But yeah, Team Coppish, Sanderson show, excuse me. It's definitely a Callum raid here, in that yes, Callum is part of the Team Coppish, and he also does MMA on the Sanderson show, which is an excellent choice if you're trying to get a little bit of insight on the MMA. We're talking about
big up Daniel for that. Big up coming in. That's great. That's nice to see.
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
it.
definitely that's mad love. Big respect. We're talking. I'd love to hear Cal's take on it too, and anyone in the chat's take. To be honest with you, I've been thinking about maybe like with this opportunity, and I'll ask the Irishman next. With this opportunity, with this new coach, and I know we're going to be mixing up 4-2-3-1 possibly, or we could do a 4-4-2, or we could do a 4-3-3, consider 4-3-3. I'm looking at it as like, if we got the opportunity to mix it up, just imagine, would you be okay if Virgil moved to the right side, provides that coverage provides the coverage for Trent, whether he goes inverted or whether he just stays as a more traditional wing back. Okay. And another option is earlier, and I'll ask this two-part question. If we were to do that, would you even be optional? Would you even be option to speak on the player that we spoke on earlier? Would you even be open? Something I've been like throwing out there, as seeing Diaz provide coverage for our right wing if we don't get it. Oh wait, is that what you said? Okay, that's what I got. Irishman, what's your thoughts?
I didn't quite get the second part, but I can.
The second part is
again,
maybe
it's cool.
Diaz. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Cover on the right, yeah. Excuse me, sorry, but again, like you said, you're just thinking out loud. Again, it's not something that I've really been considering. Again, as you said, I don't think if you shift him, I think he handles it. Like if you say like we've been talking about profiles. I don't talk about names now at the moment. I just talk about profiles. And like Lee's saying, we forget what his name is. His name is Johnson, but he needs to be top quality centre half who's robust, who can stay fit, who isn't old. Right. He's got to be like 25 maybe. That can fit in 20, young but also experienced. You can be experienced at 25. But I don't know. I certainly was. That's another thing. So there we go. But no, you know what I'm saying. I'm only joking. You bring in a guy like that, he fits the bill. Whatever whatever his name is, it doesn't matter, right? If that best version of that guy excels on the left, cool. Just switch Verge. I'm sure Verge will have no problem at all. He's gotten used to putting those balls out to the right hand side now. He's been doing that for a while. That's become his little thing. So he might just have to kind of
diagonals that he does.
recalibrate.
Yeah, the diagonals. Yeah.
Yeah, just recalibrate that from the right to the left. Again, I'm not sure how much interest he has in doing the train cover work. I don't know if he'd be all up for that. But again, like I say, if the guy that comes in that we all know we need. Now, I'm happy with backup centre half pairing of Canali and Kwanzaa. That to me is excellent. If the dude can stay fit, he can try and fight his way back in. If we buy, like I say, John Smith, and fight your way back in, Eagle. We bring this guy in. He's going to take your spot, my friend. I'm sorry, you haven't stayed fit enough. So we have to make an upgrade here. Matip is leaving. We're making an upgrade. Kwanzaa is the future, but he might not be the present. He's not going to kick up a stink if his minutes go down a little bit. But we've got to bring in a real obvious presence at centre half. So I'm all up for Virgil can almost play anywhere. I was going to say Virgil can play anywhere, obviously, but Virgil could do whatever he wanted to do. He'd be able to handle it. So yeah, let him, and even let Virgil maybe do some of those line breaking runs that you like seeing so much from Matt.
Yes, yeah. Oh wow, that would.
Maybe
he doesn't really do. He doesn't really do a lot of those. Yeah, he doesn't really do a lot of those because the further up you go as a center back, that means the further back you got to run to get back into position.
True.
But it's one of those things where I would love. I think that one of the primary reasons why I'm suggesting that is because we all get on this. Oh well, Trent. I'm not going to go down to Trent can't defend or can defend. Tangent. Let's not even go there. But one thing that's unique about at least Virgil, and we've seen it this past season, this past campaign, is people stopped going to his side. People, that aura that we all spoke of, or people like to kind of say, was pretty much back in pretty much in its glory. To the point where you didn't. The reason why a lot of times you didn't see Virgil get into problems or issues because people weren't really targeting his area of the pitch, and when they did, whether it was through aerials or whether it was through or even when it was on trying to do through balls or direct balls, he was able to pretty much take it and snuff it out. So it's just something I've been thinking on because I really would like to see I think the biggest and one of the worst things that we have had happen to us was that we didn't have the center back consistency. That if we had the center back consistency that Arsenal had last season, I think that we would have won the title, to tell you the truth. I think that could have been the difference in us winning the title. And I'm not saying that the reason why we lost is because of the play of Konate or the play of Kwanzaa. No, what I'm saying is just the consistency of having a center back pair that day in and day out is going to be there, and having the ability to refresh with other players into that thing is great. But I would like to see the consistency. Is that something you see too, Lee, or or do you think that I'm off base on that?
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to see consistency at centre half. I want to see the same two players every bloody week in the Premier League, every week. And then in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup and in a few Champions League games, Jarell can play or whoever can play. I want to see a new partner for Virgil. And as I said, I'd like them to be about 26, 27 in age. And possibly an international, although it's not essential that they're an international as long as they're a good player. and I'm thinking that we should spend about 40 million or something like.
Okay. So you're thinking of, so you want to do like, if you're going to spend 30, 40 million on a player, then you're looking probably more on the lines of the Lenny Euro player, possibly. That's what kind of like, that's what kind of player you're looking at. Because Colwill, I think they want to get they're still looking to get 60 million for at Chelsea.
It's the guy.
I know
It's
that
the guy you've never heard of, Market, that we're shopping in here. I think I'm with Lee on that. And that it's some guy we don't know. Yeah, it'll be some guy we've never heard of who plays for. Well, we'll have heard of him or something. But yeah, he plays for Frankfurt or PSV or Nantes, and he'll just be some beast. It's like we'll have done our job scouting. And that's what I want us to do, is just bring in and a year later, everyone going, wow, typical Liverpool, they got this guy from Frankfurt for 30 million, and now he's one of the best centre-halves going. That's what I like when we do that kind of transfer. Real Edwards-y kind of one where people are like, oh, I don't know about him. Oh, never heard of him. He's not done much, has he? And then like 12 months later, they're all like, yeah, I always said he was brilliant. I always said he was, when we bring him in, they show they're the real deal. So, Canade, it's just fitness. It's just fitness with Ibu.
Thank you.
Like,
it's not that you're saying Kanate can't. Kanate Fit is one of the best center backs. Sorry, I just wanted to emphasize. Kanate Fit, one of the best center backs in the league, one of the best center backs in the world. But availability is so key. So key. Look, for someone that loves Thiago, but I can understand I can concede and understand when people go against Thiago in that his availability. It's great to have that. It's great to have that iconic card in the garage. But if you can never drive it and it's always a project, then
you can brag about it to your friends. You have and they're all like, yeah, it is the coolest car, but it ain't ever going to work.
So, you never get to take it out. What's a car if you can't drive it, So, yeah, absolutely.
Boy, is on nice. Maybe it's the Premier League. Maybe it's too physical. What do you think, Lee, for Ibu? I think the Premier League is just too physical.
Yeah. I think he might be happier in. Yeah, I think France would probably be better for him. Like, he might not be injured as much if he plays in France, maybe. I don't know. To be honest, past Kieran now, I got so annoyed last season. I'm a big fan of Ibu as a player. He's brilliant. But he needs to be fit so we can see his form. When he's coming in and out, you're not seeing his form. He's coming in for 2 games and then going out. You're not seeing his form. Yeah. He's not like in a groove. And you need that with centre halves.
And those are the most annoying. It's not their fault. I've had loads of injuries throughout my just life doing stuff. Not even in sports that every time I'd be doing something, I'd hurt something every other week. Can't do anything about it. And these guys, they love playing football. It's their life. So imagine how it feels for them. But there's nothing worse than as a fan. Like, okay, look, he's some dude. He gets a bad one. He's out for 8 months, right? He's out for 8 months. That's okay. But with Ibu, he's in for 2. He's out for 1. He's back for 2. Oh, he's out for another 1. Now he's out for 2. Now he's back for a game. It's just, that just does your head in. It really does your head in because you're just there. It's like every week. It's like, is he fit this weekend? Wow, we'll wait and see. It's like they did the stats. I brought it up before. You were talking about Saliba and Gabriel, and I know there's a little bit kind of a minutes thing going on here, but Canade was fit for a while, and Virgil and Canade's stats were better than Saliba and Gabriel's stats.
Yeah.
At this, they were outperforming them defensively. So like it's like you said, had they just basically played 35 games each in the league,
Mhm.
34, 35. I think we would, not saying we would have won the league. City might have gone and done it anyway, but we
Yeah.
wouldn't have been in, or maybe we would have won something else,
Right.
whatever. But we definitely would have had a
Maybe we
much
win the FA.
better.
Maybe we win the FA Cup. Maybe we win the FA
Yeah,
Cup, or
we definitely have a better
maybe
season, even points wise. Even if it was just points wise, we would have
yeah,
been better, without a doubt.
yeah, yeah. I think that I think that would have made a difference. It would have, and that's what I think we're searching for this upcoming season is that kind of reliability when it comes to it. It's nothing against Kanate as in his talented level or anything like that, but it's more so just availability that creates reliability. Excuse me. And that's what
Well, that's
I'm
what they say.
primarily.
The
That's why I was
best
Mhm.
ability is availability. Because if you're sat at home, doesn't matter if you're Pele, Maradona, Messi. You're sat at home, you may as well be. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yes, bonkers, by the way. USA will be playing Brazil. It'll be Wednesday for me, but it'll be Thursday for you guys because it'll be at midnight. Is the game. It's in Orlando. It's going to be obviously Alisson has taken on the captain armband for Brazil currently. I don't know if he'll necessarily be the captain for that upcoming game, but he is now. He did against Mexico wear the captain's band, and
Did they win that? Did they beat Mexico?
they ended up winning 3-2. They ended up winning 3-2 against
cool.
Mexico. Real quick, international talk. I guess we could go into a little bit here with some of the players, at least that we have out out in international on international caps. Yeah, right now Darwin's lighting it up for Uruguay right now, scoring at a pretty decent rate. I know a lot of people have said, "Oh well, he scored. I think he scored a hat trick, but." But the goals were all tap-ins. And I was like, I say, my personal opinion is I think it's a mark of a very good number 9 if he's getting tap-ins. And what I mean by that is to get tap-ins, you have to be in the right position. You have to be in the right spot to get tap-ins. So I rather a player,
who we talking about?
Make it easy. Just make it as easy as possible so that there's no margin of error that you have to worry about when it comes to it. I think that's why I always said that some of the greatest players will, in my mind, come from those tap-in merchants, quote unquote. Is it when it comes to number 9?
Who are we talking about?
Darwin had
Darwin.
I was going to speak on some of the players. Yeah.
Darwin
had a hat trick.
I didn't know which one we were talking about.
Yeah,
Darwin got a hat trick. Oh,
yeah,
nice. Okay.
Yeah. He had a hat trick, I believe. And then he's been on a little bit of a scoring spree for Uruguay.
He loves playing for Uruguay. Loves it.
Yeah, loves it. Absolutely loves it. And you can see there's a difference. There's a real difference. Well, I don't know if it's just down to language. No, I'm just joking. The language barrier stuff. But again, yeah, Brazil is U.S. men's national team's next opponent. We played horribly against Colombia. Spent a lot of pickup in possibly stacking our coach, but it's kind of difficult to do so 2 weeks away from Copa America. It's a weird situation.
He did go,
it's a weird situation. If Marsh was still out there, Marsh, who's now is now the coach of Canada. If Marsh was still out there, I'd be like, yes, bring in Marsh. This is finally opportunity. This is a coach I've been wanting to be the U.S. men's national team coach for a while, and it hurts even more knowing that Marsh is now Canada's coach. And what hurts even worse is that Canada went to France and actually ended up. I think they beat France. I think Canada just beat France. I think in France. That's huge. So it's a catch-22. I don't know if those that support England.
You'd end up bringing in some random coach, wouldn't you? Like you'd bring in some guy just for the tournament.
We would bring in.
Let's get it here. Play Hail Mary on this guy.
we had an interim coach. So the weird thing about U.S. men's national team, I know I'm gonna just talk about this for just a little segment here, since we're on this tangent. The weird thing about U.S. men's national team is that we had an interim coach because our current coach got into a little bit of a PR problem with a court case that came out about DV. Basically, I'm not going to say the two words, but he had a DV case, and ended up domestic. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
And then I guess somehow they figured it out. They got over it or whatever, and they brought him back. During that time, we won an actual. It was 0-0. Okay, my fault. 0-0 France, Canada. But during the time, we actually had a Callahan was our interim coach. We ended up winning the Nations League with him in the fold, and we still brought him back. And it was kind of weird because they made the announcement of that like the day before the final, which was kind of weird. So yeah, I know Lee's going through a little bit of the audio issues, so I think he's going to try to log back in. But not to make a long story, to try to make a long story short, I'm in a place right now where I want to obviously root for us to do well in Copa. But if we do well in Copa, it means I'm stuck with Triple G as my coach going forward. Sort of similar to like England with Southgate. If Southgate does well in the Euros, let's say hypothetically he gets to the final, chances are then Southgate will continue on as your coach. If he wins the Euros, he's definitely continue on as your coach.
No, he's gone.
He's definitely gone. He's definitely gone.
Yeah, he's definitely leaving. Yeah, he's leaving. Yeah. Well, again, like you say, I know I always never say never, but apparently that is, regardless of, like you say, what they do. Apparently, the plan is to, on his part, he's been there a lot longer, but that's why all that talk about him going to Man United and stuff is because, if he does win it, he'll be going out on a high kind of thing, and. I don't know where he goes. I don't see him go to a club job, but yeah, I get what you're saying. If you don't like, we've had poor managers before, but we've never been in a position where we're going, oh well, I hope we don't win this thing, so we end up keeping him. We've never
right.
But I know what you're saying about kind of like, especially since Jack Charlton, a couple of people left, we've had some really poor managers, and you do get to the point of just going, I really hope we use this game against Andorra. I hope they just beat us 4-0, because we won't qualify anyway. But maybe if we get 4-0 by Andorra, they'll sack him.
Right.
I've been there definitely with like really bad international coaches, and you can see what's going on. It's going to be the next. If he stays, it's just going to be the same crap for 2 years. It's just I hope something really bad happens.
This is that golden generation. Like England's going through, and I'll let Lee chime in on this next. Mm-hmm. They're going through a golden generation in England, with these players. Certainly, I know that England's had some phenomenal years with their teams, but this is one of their, a lot of good players, youthful players, associated with this England squad. And it's kind of like, if you don't take advantage of this opportunity with a good coach that can bring the best out of this team, you're at a place where you could either have a coach and a team that is good for the next, decade, or you're stuck with a coach that is kind of like, dropping the ball when it comes to opportunities with a team that should be achieving more. Lee, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, look, Southgate's done well. Like, he got us to the semi-final. We haven't been near the semi-final in a very long time, but we have got a good squad of players, and maybe a better manager would get more out of them. I don't know. I'm not that bothered. I did love Jackie Charlton, by the way, Brian. He was an honorary Irishman. He made himself Irish, didn't he, Jack Charlton, with that stint. He was a very funny, blunt man. And he was a nice man, I think, essentially, Jackie, but he was quite blunt, and he was amusing with his bluntness, like, and his,
he's a saint over here. He's literally a saint.
Yeah, he was a great bloke. He was very different to Bobby Charlton. He was a bit more of a personality, whereas Bobby was a quiet man. But I did like Bobby, even though I laughed at his hair and shit, like, as you do, like, especially when I was a kid, when I'd see him with that comb over.
It was a hell of a comb over.
Of course, he was brilliant, like, you know what I mean? And he was a nice man, Bobby Charlton. He's a nice person, you know what I mean? So I never hated on him or none of that crap just because he was who he was. It's like, you know, United fans say hating on Kenny Dalglish just because of who he is. It's like, shut up, man. You know what I mean?
He took to Ireland, and Ireland to him. Now that's a golden, like you talk about golden generation. England have had a few golden generations. The Euro '96 is their original golden generation, with the class of '92 for Man United added to the likes of Shearer and Gerrard and Lampard and all of that. Well, not Lampard back then, but and not Gerrard, sorry. But the Shearers, the Gascoignes, all of that at home, Euro '96 in England. You know, that was the one they were supposed to win, you know.
Mate, we should have won that. We should have won that. We were all over Germany. And that one where Gazza missed it when he stretched. I don't know what he done. That stretch was weird how he didn't get it. I think it was McManaman who pulled it across. Sheringham set McManaman in the way and he pulls it across. And how Gazza missed it, I'll never know. Gazza doesn't know how he missed it. And that was Germany bloody done then, you know what I mean? I'm not saying we would have definitely beat the Czech Republic in the final because they were a good team too. But I mean, Germany beat them with a, what's that goal? The extra time. What did he call it? The golden goal. Golden goal, yeah. But to be honest, I think we deserved that on our play England in '96. And we had some really good players. It's gone.
No, the Jackie Charlton stuff and that was Italia '90. Like that's one of like, if you grew up when that happened, that's like our peak football era. Euro '88 when we beat England. Italia '90 when we got to the quarterfinals. This is when we were exploiting the grandmother rule, and we had the likes of Ray Houghton and John Aldridge and Andy Townsend, and, you know, some English-based players, English-born players, and Jackie Charlton. Like Jackie Charlton is our, like, I don't know who like the iconic American coach is, like who the kind of, is it like, what's that guy? Not Bob Bradley. It's not Bob Bradley. It's the one. Bruce Arena. Is it Bruce Arena?
Bruce Arena is probably like one of the more notable coaches that, you know, as of late.
Sort of like, When you think Irish football,
I'm not a big Bruce Arena fan, but
Okay, well, he's kind of like our head. Well, he's our like. He was there when at the best of times. When we broke onto the international scene, Italia '90 especially. But Jackie Charlton, he used to come over. He loved fishing. He's huge into his fishing, so he fell in love with Ireland because he just went fishing here and managed a football team. But just brilliant for a quip and a quote and a joke and real. Like you talk about old school football manager, like Jack Charlton was old school in 1990. Jack Charlton was old school. So like you can imagine, but what he did was it was called like there's even a song about it, you know, put him under pressure, which is one of his quotes. We used to kind of if you look at it now, it was gegenpressing. It was kind of knocking it long. It's a different way of winning the back, but the idea was to get it up to where their end of the pitch and squeeze and press high. That's what it was seen as a kind of a kick and rush thing. But Jack Charlton has said it ever since, like, you know, we were high pressing back in the 80s. They were. You know, it got seen, but that's if you look back at what they were doing. But he had some players, man.
That's sheep.
Houghton, Whelan, Sheedy, Aldrich, Staunton, Phil, you know, Some great players back then in the day. Dennis Irwin.
Yeah.
God, what we give for some of those guys now at Ireland. It just shows you, man,
Yeah.
generations. It goes in generations.
Going down
Yeah.
reminiscence lane.
Hey,
No,
Brian,
but
do
we
you
have
know,
one guy now. We have one guy maybe that could get into that team. Like it just in generations. Like in 20 years, so we've got some really young kids now. So in 10 years, it might be different. But right now, like our team, like we've got one guy that might get into. Like that's not even bringing it to the Damien Duff, Robbie Keane here. But like, and even
Yeah.
Evan Ferguson hasn't done anything. So it's like we're in the dregs at the moment. So that's international football, and it breaks your heart because you can't buy any. You know, you can't do anything about it. You have who you have.
You
Those are
have
your
who you
boys,
have.
and you love them all
Yeah.
the same. You back them, and you love them all the same. It doesn't matter how poor they are, how bad they are. You just can't do anything about it. You're just waiting for that guy to come through. You're waiting for that next group of 2 or 3 good players to come along. And that's football. It's only every 3 or 4 years away. That's the good thing about football. It's only every 3 or 4 years
You
away.
wanted to say? You wanted to
I
say
must
something?
say,
I only have 3 more topics.
I must say I enjoyed Ray Houghton scoring the winner against England. Okay, I was supporting England and we lost to Ireland, but Ray Houghton getting the goal because he was our player. And then his other great goal in USA '94 against Italy. Ray Houghton. You know, you got your you had like Moran, O'Leary, Lawrence. Lawrenson used to play midfield, didn't he, Brian?
The odd time, because he played that kind of DM role with
McCarthy and Kevin Moran with the centre half, I think.
Laura was good enough on the ball that he could play as a kind of a defensive midfielder, definitely.
He played in midfield for us, and he played left back for us. Like he was adaptable, Lawrence, and he was just such a great defender. Very, very fast, very long legs, great at sliding in and taking the ball. Good in the air, better than Hansen in the air, strong in the air. You could tell that because he had his teeth knocked out.
Yeah. The reason he qualifies for Ireland, obviously, because his people are from Ireland. They're from Waterford. They're from my town. That's where his people are from. So he's actually, he's a Waterford man to a degree.
Where would you find names like Donovan and McDermott the most? Because they were names on my dad's side. It's a particular part of Ireland that the Donovans would come from, or the McDermotts.
McDermott's, they're definitely they're an old family. You can get one of those maps and Google them really quickly. They'll show you where all the names are. A lot of McDermott's. Donovan. You can Google basically like all of the names.
I might test that out. Wiggins as well was my nan's name. She was born with, my mum's mum. That's
Bernie will tell you.
Higgins, like Higgins and Higgins, Wiggins, Biggins, they're all Irish, aren't they?
Yeah, Bernie is already on it. I told you, Bernie will tell you now. Donovan is West Cork. She'll tell you where McDermott is now. McDermott, I reckon, is probably Midlands. I'm guessing McDermott is Midlands, but like that's one. It's like clan names, and it's like where they're originally based and all this stuff. But that could mean any. That doesn't mean that's where your people are from. That's where your people's name is from.
Did you watch Ray Donovan with Liv Schreiber and John Voight and Eddie Marsan in it? Ray Donovan. It was on it was a very good series. That I enjoyed that. I was well into that. Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan's excellent series.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever met anyone
on Showtime. Original Showtime. I have a quick question for you guys. Then I'm going to bring up Bernie's question, and then I have one last point that I'm going to bring up. So, if there is talks that we're heavily back, or not heavily, but we're back in possibly the pursuits of Rodrigo, and there's also been some rumors that we could also make a big time cash splash for Kudus. If given the option, I mean, I think I know who you would probably go with, but one is definitely Premier League tested. The other one is certainly an incredible talent, not necessarily Premier League tested.
Yeah.
Who would you rather
That's
see if we had if those are the two options at bringing in for another additional attacker for the club? Who would you rather go for? Would you rather go for Kudus or would you rather go for Rodrigo, Lee?
I'd be going for Rodrigo, mate. I'd be having Rodrigo all day. We've got wide forwards. We want someone who plays more centrally, like who can bloody finish, and that man can bloody finish. So let's have him bloody finishing for us.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
He's a serious goal scorer. He's a serious finisher. I'd love it. I'd love it, mate. I'd eat that one up with relish.
Irishman, then. Yeah, I was gonna say Irishman. What's your vote? Who's your vote for? And tell me to chat too, real quick.
Hell of a candidacy. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing, you know. Two players I'd bite your hand off for, but to me, I see Rodrigo as, well, look, I was saying this before Klopp left, kind of as a perfect Salah replacement. One of the closest things you could see out there, someone who could play off the right and do what Salah does and proving it at a high level. What would Salah want him to do? But Kudus, Jesus, I think that guy. Do we need him? Probably not as much because he wants to play deeper. He wants to play attacking midfield. Probably more of a Sabaz-like kind of a role. I'd love to have Kudus at the club. I'd love it. But if you gave me, if I could only buy one, definitely Rodrigo, because that guy's just stone cold. He is proven, like he won't
He's
mess
finishing
around.
chances in any league you put him in, mate. He's finishing chances in any league you put him in. The Premier League.
Cold. Look what he did. Look what he did to City in the Champions League in the space of about 3 minutes. Just an absolute killer. Like that's for me. Yeah, I take him. He'd be one of my dream signings, probably. Yeah.
Imagine him, Jota and Diaz as a front today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, trust me.
Him and anybody. Him and anything. Just him and our team. Yes.
I mean, yeah. This is a question. I know. I was hoping that the chat would chime in to see. I would see who they would take over between the two. But I have the two answers from the panel here, which is good. Which is very good. I'm gonna bring up Bernie's question too. Then here's the question that Bernie had earlier. She says, given the American interest and investment into English and European football, are they involved in the growth of our type of football in the U.S. clubs? I know that when it comes to the U.S., there has been certainly emphasis on the growth of football, being soccer, what we call soccer here. There has been a very big emphasis, and if you look at the top 20, it's kind of wild because if you look at the top 20 teams of teams with their the worth of the teams, how we say, Liverpool are now like a $4 billion pound evaluated club and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. A good number of those teams now in the top 20 are MLS teams. For instance, LAFC is one of the top 10 teams in the world when it comes to actual, as in value, club value. Inter Milan, top 20, another top 20. David Beckham has done immense things whereby, bringing in Messi and bringing in those kinds of value into that club. So
there's an awful lot of Hispanic American football fans, isn't there? Obviously, coming from that part of the world, that they really, they love their football. So you can see why LA is a Galaxy. They're called. You can see why LA Galaxy are a well-supported team. And
that was the original team that Beckham went to. Yeah. And Steven Gerrard played there. Beckham played there. Chicharito, of Mexican fame, played for Man U as well.
I remember.
Played for LA Galaxy. So did what's I'm gonna go blank. What's his name? Brown. Wait. Oh, he's big. He's the guy that like when he went to LA, LeBron James sent him his kit, or sent him a jersey of LeBron. He sent LeBron James sent him a jersey, and he signed it and sent it back to LeBron James. Oh man. Yeah. Absolutely classic. But anyway, I don't know why I'm going blank on his name. And sometimes I have like 75 things going on in my head and I can't think of everything.
I did like the.
They come in at 15th.
What's that?
The Forbes list, the top 20 most valuable clubs. The Forbes list, which is the standard list, has LAFC at 15th.
Okay.
And for context, West Ham are 16th. Inter Miami are 17th. Inter Milan are 18th. LA Galaxy are 19th. Atlanta are 20th. New York FC are 21. And then you get to Aston Villa, Newcastle, and then even Seattle Sounders, and you get like when you start getting outside of it, but like it's all basically European clubs up to 15th, but then it's basically loads of American clubs. So yeah, they're kind of skirting around, just starting to break into the. It's only a matter of time before Newcastle go up or whatever. But say like Austin FC. Austin FC apparently are worth more than Brighton and Hove Albion. Only $20 million, by the way. Only $20 million more, by the way. But
still, that's relevant.
On the list, they're But say for instance, DC United 775, Crystal Palace 780. Seattle Sounders are valued the same as Fulham, which is unusual. Would you have thought Fulham was worth more than Seattle Sounders? I would have. Not according to this. According to this, they're worth exactly the same money.
Well, the primary reason why I was bringing up that list that you're talking about is because like I'm in a country where football, aka soccer, is not even possibly not even the top 4 sports in this country.
Yeah.
So so that's why like it's extremely interesting when you do see that these other clubs in possibly the 5th most popular sport in this country are still some of the most valuable clubs in the world.
It looks well attended. When I see MLS highlights, whatever, highlights package of the MLS, they always look well attended. The matches, I don't see empty stadiums or half empty stadiums. You see them in You see,
LAFC is not an easy ticket. LAFC, it used to be the LAFC is a new team, relatively new team in LA, because there used to be another team in LA, the Chivas, and like the Chivas were supposed to be like an effort to get Mexican fans as well as American fans to kind of gravitate towards a club, and but Chivas dropped the ball horrendously. The management, the amount of investment they put into it was just terrible. So when they did that, it just simply fell flat, and eventually they went the way that they did. But now LAFC has involvement with other celebrities have invested in LAFC and such. So now you have more interest in a lot of these teams, like for instance, Vancouver Whitecaps, for instance. Steve Nash, who's a basketball player, played for Phoenix Suns. is actually a really talented basketball player, but also a football player himself. He was owner of Vancouver, for instance, or you have Will Ferrell, for instance, that is one of the owners of LAFC. The LA Galaxy has some. Say again.
Did Lawrence play? One of our boys went there and sent these Vancouver Whitecaps. One of the Liverpool lads played there. Was that Lawrence?
Yeah.
We
I'd
actually
have to double
we bought Bruce Grobbelaar from Vancouver Whitecaps.
Oh, is that what it was? That might be what it was. Yeah, but I knew one of like our famous guys from the 80s had definitely played for Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah, Grobbelaar, we bought him from Vancouver Whitecaps, Bruce Grobbelaar.
Trivia question. Who did he join when he left Liverpool?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, quick. Sorry. I think I remember. I think I remember who he joined.
Yeah, I don't know if there's.
What was the trivia question? Repeat the trivia question one more time.
Who did he go? Who did he join when he left Liverpool? Grobbelaar.
My recollection. Can I say what I think it is? The answer?
Yeah. Go ahead.
My recollection is Southampton. Did he go to Southampton?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Nice call.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
sorry to butt in. We should have got rid of Grobbelaar much sooner. Because he went off the boil, and I am very suspicious that he let goals in for money, like they said he did.
The whole thing.
Diving past bloody balls like in about 1993, 94, and you were like, what's this? Like, why is he doing this?
And some of those tapes are pretty damning.
Yeah.
If you look back, some of them tapes are.
Let me just say this. Get on this, how stupid rival fans are. They were getting on at us saying we were cheats because Grobbelaar cheated, but maybe took money for it. And I said, you do realise that when you concede a goal, it's a negative thing. It wasn't helping us. He's screwing us over. You are like aware of this, are you? You stupid bastard. Some of the stupidity from rival fans make you like, what? This person can actually breathe without instructions. They're so bloody stupid.
That one, yesterday we spoke on. I played some clips from, and I can make sure I give because I mean he's going from. I might have given him a little bit of press. He certainly got a little press from this clip of this Public Enemy #1 clip that he played. The Mancunian Way. He's a content creator for Manchester City. I played a couple of clips from him yesterday, and there was a statement that I put, but I didn't. I wanted to make sure that I had the clip to show what it is to bring context to what I did say or what I did, comment from. Yesterday, I spoke on the fact that look, I don't have much empathy for the citizens of Manchester City. So I know that is probably that I know that comes from is rooted in the sense that they tend to they're doubling down on in support of their the ownership group and what they're actually doing for this lawsuit that is currently going on right now. Again, this is day 2 of the lawsuit. This lawsuit's supposed to take 2 weeks in total to be adjudicated. There was a statement though again, and this is why it just blew my mind when I heard the statement. The tyranny of the majority thing is just crazy to say.
That was a lame soundbite. The tyranny of the majority. It was such a heartbreakingly awful soundbite. That one.
Yeah, we already come up with this. Basically, the tyranny of democracy is basically what they're not down with. But there was another clip. There was another clip where I wanted to show. Again, I have if you want to go to his giving the credit for the channel. The channel's name is involved in the clip here. You see it. This was the take, and this is why, again, this is why I kind of just shook my head and said, I can't believe these guys. These guys are on some other settings, because they want to make it seem as though they're the Robin Hoods of this pursuit. They are the noble ones that are doing it for the people as they think. So this is the take. I want to make sure it's not too loud for you guys. But listen to this take. This is the interesting take.
Close. This is where people are forgetting. This City case is not. If City win this case, I'll prove their point against the Premier League. Potentially, some clubs won't have to sell players. If they lose, then they may have to. Because the one thing I will say is, you've got to be careful on this sponsorship deal. Paramount Plus were denied to go on the Chelsea shirt. Aston Villa have only been able to get a 1-year deal. And they got an online betting company. The reason they could only get an online betting company for a year is because nobody's willing to put up with the crap that the Premier League are now asking people to go for. Because what the Premier League are now asking directors of these sponsored companies, say Costa Coffee wants to come and sponsor the YNWA, and they want to give me, Rich, Ozzy, £1,000 a month. Well, we don't have the views for that. It's like an organisation, and the organisation we're with, or YouTube, saying we need to speak to the director of Costa Coffee, and we want to know why, from that director.
What was the part and point about that? He kind of blusters on beyond that. Go ahead, Lee.
What the hell was that man talking about? Do you know what I mean? That narrative resides at the absolute apex of all that is patience testing wank. Do you know what I mean? It's just pathetic. It's beyond.
I mean, we're in a meeting. We're in a meeting with Costa Coffee execs right now. You know, I don't know where this guy is. Like, and as I we spoke about this last night. This idiotic statement that they could only get a gambling company for 1 year, and he fails to understand, acknowledge is that they're going to be banned next season. You can only have 1 more year of gambling companies. That's why they can only get 1 year of a gambling company. So he either
has nothing to do with
pretends not to know that. Yeah, he either pretends not to know that or is willfully just ignorant or whatever. But my money is on stupid. That's what I'm saying. If you look at his head and the things that come out of his mouth, my money's on.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Well,
no, but if you listen to the things that come out of his mouth, if you look at the things, if you listen to the things that come out of his mouth, my money is on stupid. Okay, so he's we were talking about mental gymnastics last night. These guys, I mean, now he's saying, it's like imagine this. You don't need to come up with ridiculous analogies for people. Yeah. They can understand what's happening. They know what's happening. Every time you watch a different YouTuber, it's like, look, it's like this, right? Imagine, right? If you own a club, and it's just, you don't need to break it down for people and end up sounding like that guy just did, like he was having some kind of a stroke. You know, it's just, people understand what's happening. They know. These people just, I don't know what world they exist in. What world do they exist in, man?
That's the whole part and point of why I wanted to make sure, because I wanted to bring context. I'm not going to just try to take a clip and not give the complete context of what he had to say. You know, I wanted to definitely, I made a statement. I made a comment on his comment. I made a reactionary comment on his comments, and why I was so bewildered by his statement was that for you to go and say, I'm going to back this group that's talking about the tyranny of the majority. But yet we're doing this for the people. We're doing this for the Premier League clubs. We're doing this for the group. It's one of those things where you're like, you were in a vote. The vote came down, whatever it came, 16 to 4 or whatever the vote was. Okay.
Yeah, they got slapped.
You're in the
they
you're
lost.
a part of the 4. Right. You're a part of the 4. You lost. And yet you're gonna sit there and go, I'm gonna take up this fight for the entire group. The entire group has spoken. The entire group has spoken.
Yeah. It's fairly rare that I view anything as being beyond parody almost, and the general narrative thrust from Manchester City fans in football chat boxes it's just absurd, mate. And like I said before, it resides at the absolute apex of all of this patience testing shite. It is palpable nonsense what they come up with, you know what I mean? And you're like, what? Behave, you know what I mean? Are you being serious here? Is that meant to be serious, that comment? That's the way I am with them, you know what I mean? I can't bear it.
It is.
I can't bear it.
Because
it's like the Donald Trump shit. It's like the Donald Trump thing, isn't it? Like I was saying that to you. I said this to you before, 12 man.
Yeah.
And it's like I know they've made a lot of hay and they are very good at what they do out of it. But there was almost like there was a point where even the funniest late night satirical American host, top quality comedian, couldn't be funnier than watching an actual Trump press conference. Like the Trump, the thing itself was funnier than he was funnier. Like all these guys could take the piss out of him, and ramp it up 1,000, but actually watching the guy himself was 10 times more absurd and hilarious than anything they could do. So that's what it's like with these guys, these Man City guys. It's just like they're sitting there on these shows coming up with all this insane madness like that. It's just they're just writing all the jokes about themselves. Like we can't do anything. What can we say? They're just doing it. Look, do they not? What world do they live in? It's just absurd. Completely absurd. It is.
Yeah. And that's why I had to make sure I wanted to make sure that I gave the full context. I definitely referenced it yesterday. I didn't show this clip, so I wanted to make sure that people understood that I wasn't taking him out of, taking his words out of context or anything like that, or not doing his words any justice by saying that he looks at it as they are doing a noble fight. They are sticking up for the little man. They're sticking up for the entire Premier League. They're going to fall on this sword in essence, for the good of the Premier League. Let's overlook the fact that they've been allegedly cooking the books and creating shadow companies or whatever they call them, or to make up these cases where they can make up the difference in revenue. Let's overlook those points. Let's overlook the point of all the other infractions that they've been alleged to have done as well. Let's overlook all those things. You've got to look at it. We're doing it for you, people, and it's like that's some bold. That's like someone pissing on your leg and telling you it's raining. Like it doesn't. It's one of those things where you're like, dude,
it's a bit like somebody's kicked you up the arse, and then when you turn around to see who's kicked you up the arse, they slap you in the face.
That's one way of looking at it. I didn't know you were going to go with that one, but I mean, that is certainly one way of looking at it. Oh, man.
With the fish. Yeah. Give a fish slap. Fish slap on the face. Yeah, I look. The thing with these, they love to fudge and obfuscate and say it's about this and about that, and they talk about this fair market value thing like they actually know what's happening. If they're talking about that and they believe that, then they're ignoring what's happening. Like this court case now that's going on right now is just nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. Like what they're failing to talk about is the fact that you can say this Costa Coffee thing. It's like Costa Coffee, right? My name is Sheikh John, right? I own Costa Coffee and I own Man City. Right? So I'm going to say to Costa Coffee, look, guy that independently runs Costa Coffee apparently, right? I want you to sponsor Man City for 100 million quid for the next 10 years. And he's like, we can't possibly afford to. He's like, shut up. Sponsor them for the next 10 years. Announce it. Write the check. He's like, okay. And then 2 days later, right here, look, there's a check for 92 million quid. Pop that back in the account. You've just sponsored Man City for the next 10 years for 8 million quid. That's how this worked. It's just like we were talking last night about they used to break the rules in these really obvious ways, thinking they could just do what they wanted and get away with it. Like that's how simple this system. It's not a complicated system. It's basically, here's Etihad. You sponsor City for 500 million, right? Okay, cool. We obviously can't afford that. Yeah, obviously, right? So just put it in the books. 2 days later, a mysterious check arrives in the post from your bestie friend, loving friend. Here's 590 million quid. Or 490 million back, so cost you 10 million. All it's actually costing 10 million, and they're denying having done that. That's the crux of the case against them. They're denying that they did that. That's the whole thing against them. Forget the 115. That is the core. That is criminal. That's not FFP. It's false accounting, and it's criminal. That's the core of it. So what they're trying to hit this thing out with, oh, hey man, before you find us guilty of this thing that you're going to say is criminal, we're going to try and win a court case that say that those rules were illegal, so that when it comes out that we broke them, that, by the way, it doesn't matter if you've just won a court case now that says drink driving should be legal, right? If you did it 4 years ago when it was illegal, and your case comes up now, you're still getting done for 4 years ago, though, because it was illegal when you did it. Even if you've finagled something now to change it your way, doesn't matter. When you did it, you broke the law. I mean, these guys. How can't everybody just see what they're doing? It's Ali McBeal level.
I think the problem is that real quickly, I think the problem is that people do see it. The public opinion is already pretty much not in their favor. Okay, I mean, albeit the fact that they win, the fact that now it's kind of like someone winning the lottery and then acting as like they've been rich their entire life, and rich and entitled, So it's one of those cases. Guys, carry on too for a second.
No, I think actually this just occurred to me as well. Something that they're using, because they are clever, because they can afford clever lawyers. They're using the fact that everybody's going to call them guilty anyway. So they're kind of saying, look, it doesn't matter what happens.
If I'm brutally honest about this, no ways that I see them attempting to sue the Premier League. I mean, that is a ballsy move, and it is fucking ridiculous. Sorry for swearing, but it is ridiculous. It's ludicrous on a gargantuan scale. You know what I mean? Gargantuan proportions of ludicrousy. It's just
well,
it gets worse. It gets worse and worse. You think, oh, this is as bad as it could get, and then it gets bloody worse. You invent some new crap to do your head in with.
Well, yeah, exactly. They do. They invent new shit to fuck up your day.
Sorry about that.
So, no, but it doesn't
all
stop.
Right, so that's the gist of what I really wanted to get into. I wanted to make sure that everyone got the full context behind what they had to say, what they had to offer. I want to make sure it's kind of like you can't fool us with the banana in the tailpipe. Basically. Shout out to those Beverly Hills Cop fans out there. because that's exactly what this kind of has that feel to it. The banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah, I told you that's one of my favourite films ever, because when I was 11, I was sagging school and I had money because it'd been my birthday or some shit like in May, and I went every day for a week to the pictures in town, the cinema in town, and as well, once you paid in, like you could stay in for all the showings like all day. So this is what I would be doing at 11 years old, watching Beverly Hills Cop.
What date in May? What date in May is your birthday?
Sorry.
What date in May is your birthday?
15.
Oh, close.
Are you
Close.
gonna do the JK and give him?
No, that's JK's thing. No, that's JK's thing. Yeah, no, I'm May 9th. I'm May 9th. That's all. I'm May 9th.
Ah, okay, all right.
My granddad was May 10th. My dad's dad, and my dad is May 19th. So we're all like within 9 days. Like Granddad George, my dad, and me.
It's a good thing JK isn't here, because that'd be blowing his mind. That's just too much tourists for him. He'd be saying like that's.
Oh goodness! Oh goodness!
Yeah, he's big
before we get into the astrological signs, yeah, I'm sorry, I had to shut that down. Before we get into the astrological signs and everything else, where the moon is, or or the sun is in rising or whatever.
Like I say, JK's the one. He's not here. He's not here.
No, JK's yeah. I that's all love and respect. All love and respect.
You know what? I do believe that there are some inherent character traits in star signs in people, because they usually tally, when you hear them, and sometimes it doesn't sound exactly right, but other times you're like, yeah, that's right about this person. They are like that. In the way they are as a person, as a human being.
Yeah. Astrological signs can be interesting, because I sometimes they're right on the money, and it's annoying. I don't want to. I'm not going to get into some of that stuff, but
I used to get a laugh out of reading them in the newspaper every day, in the daily newspaper, like just for a laugh. I weren't like into it or that. It was just something amusing for me, like, you know what I mean. The fellow was called Russell Grant. This old, well, he wasn't old. He was like gay and fat, and but he was good. Russell Grant. He was good on TV. And my nan used to call him a naughty gentleman when she referred to his sexuality, because that's how old women talked in them days. She went, yes, she loved him. She loved Russell Grant.
Okay.
Naughty gentleman.
Let's keep the broadcast to PG-13 before we get into the naughty gentleman.
Naughty gentleman. It always cracked me up.
Oh my goodness.
That's for the Late Show.
That's for the Late Show. Yes, definitely for the Late Show.
I will reiterate.
But yeah, so we got into a lot of the topics today.
All of the topics.
What was
nearly,
that?
But
we got into a lot of the topics of the day. All the topics I think that were kind of trending, or at least those that were of interest. Got into the Mathis Delict conversation. We got into the rumor mongering behind Rodrigo. We even got into, I don't think we got into the reported hair transplant for Mohamed Salah. I'm not going to get into that stupid talk. Who cares if he did or didn't?
Rooney's so-on job was brilliant, mate. I wet myself with puerile glee when Rooney got that wig sewed onto his bloody head when he was about 23. I was just like, oh, man. Because 1 minute, remember the football game, a computer game called FIFA, I don't know, whatever year Rooney come out, there was FIFAs, and on one, he was bald, and then on the next one, he had hair, and it just looked out funny, because you knew it wasn't real. It was just oh, look at that rug, that's a bad rug, that.
It was a very thin rug.
Yeah.
It didn't work. It definitely didn't work. I hope he kept him asleep for that one,
Oh, I'm a bad infant sometimes like that, but it was funny for the player who was bald one day to have hair the next day. You were like, oh man, please. Did you do this just for me, especially, Wayne? Just for my,
Yeah,
just for my. Did you do it for me? Like, thanks. I'm scoused too. I appreciate
I hope
that.
you didn't.
I remember posting a picture in the back of a Range Rover, and he had a scar as like Frankenstein. He had this like scar all the way around his head, and it looked like he literally just had his scalp replaced, and he was just like, he puts up this. I think it was like, but this is back in the day, like his early social media. So he just puts up a picture and he just goes, "New bonds." It's just like, you just look like you've come out of a like like an audition for Frankenstein or something. It's just like,
oh my God.
it was like, oh man, all right, yeah, early days, man. But
Early days,
it didn't work. It didn't work. He just looked more bald, even. Just shave your head, dude.
I did hear last year that Rooney was going to replace Gary Lineker on Match of the Day as the presenter. It was going to be renamed Match of the Day in honor of his hair.
Let's move on from before we get too rooted in plugs. I guess is I hope that the Swifties that are going to be taking over Anfield for their concert, I hope that they have the respect. There's no camping out, by the way, to the Swifties.
Take the heels
no camping out around Anfield.
Yeah. Take the heels off. Respect the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's only.
Yeah. I wonder if I think she was on the pitch. I wonder what they did for that. I was thinking of John Henry's wife took a lot of pictures with the group when they were taking pictures with the guys on the pitch. I think she was wearing heels too.
She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think he has to ask permission. Yeah. But yeah, we went through the outrageous statements of the citizens. We went into the comments about I didn't get into the comments about Anthony Gordon again trying to push for a possible move to Liverpool. I don't even want to think about that. I also know that there have been some reports again about Andre his name being recycled possibly as a possibility of coming to Liverpool, but that isn't exactly a given either. Look, we've got a long summer of rumors. Twitter is certainly the hotbed when it comes to finding those rumors, a place to kind of like grow. But yeah, I appreciate all you guys joining us today to kind of talk about these subjects, talk about these topics, prepare for Hump Day tomorrow, as we call it here in America. The Wednesday. So yeah. Is there anything you wanted to say to the people before we let them go, Lee?
No, just thanks for laughing about Rooney's wig, if you indeed did. And oh, how awful of me! What a child. Yes, they're also laughing about City and their pathetic attempts to cover up their dastardly what's the word?
Dastardly deeds.
Yeah, the dastardly deeds. Yeah, deeds will do. Dastardly deeds.
Yes, alleged deeds. We'll say that too, so we don't get neither one of us gets sued.
And yes, Bernie, Bernie, I was only joking. I know they're not actually standing on the Anfield pitch. I know. I know they basically build floors. I was joking about them wearing high heels. I know it's all protected. They're not standing literally like on the Anfield turf watching Taylor Swift. They're probably about 6 inches above it, I'd say. Hopefully.
Yeah, she's playing Anfield and she's Taylor Swift.
It's a big show. Look, Taylor Swift has made over. She's made this. So the show at Anfield is going to be the 100th show in the tour. It's the century mark show for the tour. So that's a big thing. It's a very big thing. It's a notable number in the tour. This tour has amounted to her gaining off the revenue that she's made off this tour. Let me repeat this: the revenue that she's made off this tour is $1 billion. She's made $1 billion off this tour. So Taylor Swift. What's that?
She might come back and buy the club.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe she'll come back. Maybe she likes it so much. Yes, maybe she likes it so much. And hey, you know what? There was a report out there that she got it approved, and part of her advertising campaign was she used "You'll Never Walk Alone," and that apparently made a lot of Evertonians very, very pissed off, to say the least, because it obviously showed her paying homage to the red section of Liverpool as opposed to the blue section of Liverpool. So it's kind of funny.
Wouldn't it be funny if she came out and said, "I've never heard of Everton. I don't know who them ones are. I've only heard of Liverpool and You'll Never Walk Alone. Don't know who them other ones are." I'd love if she said, "What does Everton mean? What is an Everton?" Sometimes I say that to Evertonians, but a laugh instead of calling them Evertonians. I go, "Are you an Everton? Are you an?" Because I can't even be arsed saying Evertonian. I've got that much disdain for half of them. I'll say, "Are you an Everton?" in the pub, just for a laugh. To my own sick amusements. Are you an Everton?
Yeah.
She's I'm with Barney, but look, honestly, I mean, I find it strange that there are some people, we know who they are, that I'm surprised that they are, but they are big Swifties. I'm a man in my 40s, so I'm obviously not a Taylor Swift fan. I don't think that needs to be explained. I don't care. Her music is not for me. It's for girls up to the age of maybe 19. And, whatever after that, I don't know. It's not for me. It's not something I would ever do. But
essentially, isn't it? It's music for children, like a lot of
I just think, but dude, you'd be very surprised how many grown-ups and who aren't women actually like her. And I think it's very strange. And there are straight men who like her as well. And I think it's all very, very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah, to each their own. To each their own. If you know what, if you're a Swiftie at heart, more power to you.
Go.
I just say, if anything, the primary thing I care about is whether you're a red or not in my life, in my interactions in life. So I'm glad to see that we've had some proper reds in the chat. We've had obviously a proper panel here by representing the Reds, the Reds allegiance here, through the Irishman and Lee. And again, Irishman, did you have something you wanted to say before we allow for the people to go on to their final destinations?
No, just that we were challenged by some lunatic to put together a Ireland Liverpool 11 versus an England 11. So if you want to put some 11s that you have time over the week, if you want to think of your best ever Liverpool English 11, because I have picked my Irish 11, so that's the show we're going to be doing. So if anyone has, get your 11s ready. It's not, you have to send them in to show or anything. Have them ready to pop in the chat. The best All England 11 for Liverpool, because again, there's no point doing an Ireland one because I pretty much used all the Ireland players. There's not much left. So anybody, that's something we got coming up. That's one thing, and just all the usual. Just like the video, and if you're watching on replay, hello and thank you, and take care.
Lee, real quick, you wanted to say something real quick? Go ahead.
No, not really. That's me, John.
Second thought.
Yeah, Republic or sorry, Bernie. Yeah, it's Republic. Yeah, no Republic of Ireland. Yeah,
Republic of Ireland. Right. We're not doing the Brendan Rodgers thing. So yes. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be back tomorrow, same time, time slot of 7:00. Hopefully we'll have Lee here tomorrow. We'll have Irishman. We'll get we're gonna work on, once the show's over, we're gonna stick around. The three of us are gonna stick around in the back office and see if we can't figure out the delays and the microphone things and such, that we make it smooth sailing for you guys tomorrow. But ultimately, the most important part is that you guys joined us today, and really appreciate it. If you're watching this on a replay, please do hit the like. Please do leave a comment. Just give us a suggestion for the 11v11 Ireland versus England, or give us a suggestion for another show that you have in mind. Whatever the case might be, we're always open to the inclusion of all of our Mighty Reds out there. And we do appreciate all the input and all the time that that you show and share with us. So I would ask that you continue to take care of yourselves as well as your loved ones in your lives. It's important. Physical and mental health is a very important subject to always keep a firm focus on in your lives. And I would always like to emphasize that what it all comes down to is this: up the Reds. Up the Reds, people, up the Reds. So until tomorrow, peace.